Today's lesson is no set list for male song sparrows. Hi everybody, my name is Roger.
And my name is Helen.
And today we're going to talk about the world of ornithology, the study of birds, and specifically we're going to focus on sparrows. Sparrows are quite common all over the world, and they sing songs. The males mostly do, but they sing kind of a set of songs, don't they?
Yes, apparently they sing a set of songs, but this set isn't organized in any particular sequence. They like to change things around, as the title of today's lesson indicates. In fact, the title is a tongue twister. If you can say the title really quickly 3 times, I'll give you a prize.
Well, I'm not going to try here. I don't want to embarrass myself, but a set list, of course, is the list of songs that a DJ is going to play during a set. So a set list in this particular case talks about the kinds of songs that sparrows sing. And we've got scientists who study this sort of thing and actually listen to sparrows and recognize that they're actually singing distinct songs. So let's find out what this is all about. If you're into sparrows, let's listen to the first part and we'll come right back to discuss it.
No set lists for male song sparrows. Music plays a huge part in our daily lives, whether we are in the gym, on the bus, or at our desks. And while we often listen to the same songs, we hardly ever listen to them in the same order. We hit shuffle, and so do male song sparrows.
大家好，第一部分我们看到名词 shuffle， 意思是音乐播放程式的随机播放功能，或者是洗牌。例如 I put my earphones on and played the album on shuffle mode. 我戴上耳机并使用随机播放模式播放这张专辑。或是 I think the card dealer didn't give the cards a good shuffle. 我觉得荷官没把牌洗干净。另外补充一个含有 shuffle 在内的片语 Lost in the shuffle. Lost L-O-S-T Lost in the shuffle 表示被忽视或者是被埋没。举例来说 Many new immigrants to the U.S. are lost in the shuffle of national politics. 许多到美国的新移民因为国家政治因素而被忽视。也可以说 The truth of the case cannot be lost in the shuffle. 这起案件的真相不能被埋没。另外 shuffle 当作动词使用时有变换位置、重新安排或者是改组的意思。像是 Jessica shuffled some papers as she waited for her colleague to get off the phone. Jessica 在等同事挂电话时变动了几张纸的顺序。或者 The company shuffled its top management after a year of poor sales. 在1年的惨淡业绩后，该公司改组高层管理人。
So diving right into the first sentence, it says here, music plays a huge part in our daily lives, whether we are in the gym, on the bus, or at our desks. Indeed, that is true. Many of us listen to music through our smartphones and our earbuds or headsets while we are on the bus, on our way somewhere, working out in the gym. So in this way, we are listening to music constantly, and that's why music plays a huge part in our lives. It's constantly a part of our daily lives.
Yeah, most people like to enjoy a tune from time to time. This morning when I was exercising, of course, I was streaming some music from the internet and listening to it. So again, it plays a huge part in our daily lives. So this phrase, to play a part in, means it's a part of your life. It plays a role, or it has a role in your life. And you could just say plays a part in your life, and you could add an adjective there. Plays a big part, plays a huge part, etc. And of course, there are lots of places where we listen to music. And while we often listen to the same songs, we hardly ever listen to them in the same order. That is true. Sometimes, of course, we might make our own compilations and listen to those songs in the same order. But nowadays, we have our playlists in our devices, and they play songs randomly. So, yeah, we don't usually listen to them in the same order over and over.
That's right. So that has only been possible within the past 20, 30 years, because before that we had LPs, we had records. So it wasn't able to switch around the sequence of a set list unless we were to do it manually. But with the CD and with streaming music, it's possible to listen to music without any particular order.
Exactly. I think that's called shuffling the songs. You push the shuffle button, and then the songs will play in random order. And, well, what does that have to do with sparrows? Well, we hit shuffle, and so do male song sparrows. So, again, that's what we do when we use our device to play music. We push the shuffle button because we don't want to hear the songs in any particular order. So it mixes them up, it plays them at random, but I guess song sparrows do that as well. Most people probably don't pay attention to bird song, but birds are singing songs all the time. And sparrows, of course, have a great variety of songs that they sing, which we will talk about in today's program as our lesson continues. So let's move on to the second part. We'll listen to it first.
Researchers have studied the song patterns of male song sparrows and found that they too prefer to switch it up. According to a study published in January 2022, these winged vocalists sing a selection of around 6 to 12 songs, but rarely in the same order. It takes them about 30 minutes to finish their set, and evidence suggests that the birds can remember the songs they have sung and change up their pattern as they sing. They keep changing this cycle of songs to avoid unnecessary repetition, possibly to give female song sparrows a better listening experience.
第二部分，我们看到单字 repetition 这个字是名词，指重复或者是反复发生。举例来说 ，Through constant repetition,Carla memorized the entire poem. 透过不断反复练习 Carla 背下那一整首诗。或者 To avoid a repetition of our previous mistake, we need to analyze what went wrong. 为了避免之前的错误反复发生，我们必须分析哪里出现了错误。另外补充这个字的动词 repeat。R-E-P-E-A-T, repeat, 表示重复。例如 Linda repeated the video several times. Linda 重复播放那段影片好几次。也可以说 Thomas repeated the same mistake 3 times in his test. Thomas 在考试中重复犯了3次同样的错误。
So how do sparrows or male sparrows shuffle their songs? Well, researchers have studied the song patterns of male song sparrows and found that they too prefer to switch it up. So these researchers, these scientists, studied the song patterns of male song sparrows. So in other words, they studied the sequence or the way male sparrows sang their songs and the order in which they sang those songs. And these scientists or researchers researchers found that the male sparrows prefer to mix up the sequence of the songs. So they prefer to switch it up. When you switch up something, you change the sequence of that thing or you alter it slightly.
That's right. You could also mix it up a bit so it's not in the same order for a little bit of variety. And according to a study published in January of 2022 this year, these winged vocalists sing a selection of around 6 to 12 songs, but rarely in the same order. So we're calling these sparrows, we're calling them songbirds, but we're also calling them vocalists. A vocalist is usually the singer for a band, like Aerosmith's vocalist is Steven Tyler, for example. In any case, these are winged vocalists. These are furry, feathered singers, and they sing a selection of 6 to 12 songs, but not usually in the same order. They rarely sing them in the same order. They mix it up, they switch it up.
Right, and this finding was published in January 2022. So the word publish here means to put something that someone has written where other people can read it. So you can publish a paper, a scientific paper online. You can also publish an article in a magazine. So to publish just means to make public something that you have written.
Exactly, okay. So this, of course, is a study that was published earlier this year about sparrows and the order in which they sing their songs. Now, it takes them about 30 minutes to finish their set, and evidence suggests that the birds can remember the songs they have sung and change up their pattern as they sing. So you've got scientists outside in various locations studying different sparrows. They probably are able to identify individual sparrows as part of a group of sparrows, and they have studied their music, and they have concluded that a set that a sparrow sings takes about 30 minutes to finish. That sounds like the average length of a set of a DJ. I think DJs in clubs probably have a longer set than that lasts maybe 1 or 2 hours or something, but sparrows have a set that takes about 30 minutes. And then we've got evidence based on this research or on this study that the birds can remember songs they have sung and they can sing them again, but again, they mix up the patterns, they mix up the set.
That's very interesting. So why do they mix up the set? Well, they keep changing the cycle of songs, so the cycle of 6 to 12 songs that they sing within around 30 minutes to avoid unnecessary repetition. So repetition is the act of repeating something. When you repeat something, you do it over and over again. So these male sparrows evidently want to avoid, they don't want to repeat constantly the same pattern of songs unnecessarily. So if they had to repeat, that's fine, but they want to avoid unnecessary repetition. And why do they want to avoid repetition? Possibly to give female song sparrows a better listening experience. Well, that's quite considerate of these male sparrows.
Indeed, of course, the boys are trying to woo the girls. They're trying to get the girls interested in them. So a sparrow needs to impress the girl with his repertoire of songs. So again, he changes the cycle of songs to basically impress that female sparrow, and maybe she will be sweet on him too, and they can get together and make baby sparrows in the future. Okay, that brings us to the end of the second part of our lesson for today. Let's move on now to the third part, and we'll listen to it first.
It remains to be seen whether female sparrows are indeed more interested in males that mix up their song list between cycles. But if human preferences are anything to go by, they very well might be. After all, variety is the spice of life.
第三部分，我们看到单字 preference 这个字是名词，指的是偏爱、偏好或者是喜爱。像是 Sitting in a window seat on an airplane is Tom's preference. 坐飞机时 Tom 偏好坐在靠窗的位置。或是 There is a growing preference for larger smartphones. 人们越来越偏好较大台的智慧型手机。另外，把这个字字尾的 ence 去掉，就变成了动词 prefer， 意思是偏好、宁可。我们可以说 Randall likes rock music, but his brother prefers country music. Randall 喜欢摇滚乐，但他弟弟比较喜欢乡村音乐。最后，我们看到名词 variety， 指的是变化、多样性，或者是各种各样。例如 The artist's set has a variety of paint colors and brushes. 这个艺术家的工具组有多种颜料和画笔。另外补充这个字的形容词 various, V-A-R-I-O-U-S, various, 意思是各式各样的，不同种类的，像是Karen traveled to various beaches along Spain's Atlantic coast. Karen 到西班牙大西洋岸的好几个海滩旅行。
So we saw in the last part that male sparrows try to avoid repeating the same cycle of songs because they want to impress the females. However, do the females actually care whether these songs are constantly sung in the same pattern, or do they prefer that the songs are switched up a bit? Well, it remains to be seen whether female sparrows are indeed more interested in males that mix up their song list between cycles. So when something remains to be seen, it means that we don't really know yet what the result is. So we need to wait and see for ourselves what that result is. So we're not sure whether female sparrows appreciate male sparrows for switching up their song list, but that's something that remains to be seen.
Now, I've got an example here. I used to work for a company many years ago, and there was this guy named Barry, and he was usually late for meetings. So one time we told Barry to show up to a meeting at 10 o'clock, and then we asked each other, gee, is Barry going to show up on time today? Well, somebody said, well, that remains to be seen. Barry is not very punctual, so we're not really sure if he's going to be on time or not. You could also say, we'll have to wait and see. So, indeed, are female sparrows impressed by those males who mix up their songs? Well, we'll just have to wait and see. It remains to be seen. We're not really sure about the sparrows because we can't really walk up to the female sparrows and say, hey, do you like it when the boys sing different songs? Oh, yes, we certainly do. And I'm very interested in him if he sings a variety of songs. I will definitely want to be his girlfriend.
Right. We can't do that. However, we can go by something else. If human preferences are anything to go by, they very well might be. They meaning the female birds. They may very well be impressed by the male bird's efforts. So let's take a closer look here at the phrase, if human preferences are anything to go by. First of all, the word preference refers to something that you prefer. So you might prefer one thing over another. You might prefer apples over oranges. In that case, your preference is apples. You prefer to eat apples over eating oranges. So if we are going to look at human preferences or what humans like, then the songbirds' efforts, male songbirds' efforts to impress the females might very well be effective.
Indeed. So we're using the example of human beings, and specifically, I think we're talking about boys playing music for girls. And as you know, big rock stars, of course, can impress lots of girls. They are often referred to as groupies who want to meet the rock stars after the concert and get together with them. And yes, indeed, that's why we're using the example of human preferences. So if those human preferences are anything to go by, if we can use human behavior as an example, well, indeed, the females might indeed be interested in males because they're mixing up their song lists. So I suppose rock singers have to mix up their concert set lists in order to impress girls in different cities.
Right. So the phrase to go by here means to base your opinion on something. You can also say it's not a good idea to go by appearances. When you go by appearances, it means that you judge somebody or you judge something by the way that person or that thing looks. You go by their appearance. And here we're talking about going by human preferences. So if we are going to base our opinion on human preferences, then female sparrows may very well be impressed by the efforts of the male sparrows. Because, after all, here's the last sentence of the paragraph, variety is the spice of life.
So we're talking about sparrows singing different songs, and we often talk about this concept of having things differently from day to day. We don't want things to fall into a boring routine where we listen to the same songs over and over again. So that's why we say this, variety is the spice of life. Variety means things are different. You see things or you hear things or you feel things differently each time. We all like a bit of variety in our lives. Some people may not like a lot of variety, though, because it's kind of unpredictable and they like to have everything easily understood. But this phrase here is quite often, variety is the spice of life. Spice, of course, is something added to food to make it taste better.
Right, so you can say that a menu has a variety of options to choose from, which means that this menu has many different things that you can choose from. And stores can offer a variety of products to sell. And spice, yes, spice are things that add flavor to food, but you can also use the word spice to talk about different things figuratively. So you can say that you can put some spice in your marriage by going out on a date with your husband or your wife once a week. Even though you have been married for 20, 30 years, you shouldn't fall into a routine. You should have some variety in your life, add some spice to it by going out on a date, going out to the movies or out to dinner with your spouse so that you can, make that marriage more exciting.
Okay, that brings us to the end of our explanation for today. It's time now to listen to our Chinese teacher.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。课文一开始写到 Music plays a huge part in our daily lives. 音乐在我们日常生活中扮演着重要的角色。好，那当我们用 play a part 或是 play a role in 再加上戏剧作品，就可以表达在那个戏剧作品当中饰演一角。那么 part 跟 role 的前面呢，还可以加入形容词。举例来说 Brad played a small part in the film. Brad 在那部电影里面饰演一个小角色。好，那另外也可以用 play a 或 in 加上形容词，再加 part 或是 role。in 再加名词或动名词去表达对什么什么有影响，在什么方面起作用，扮演着什么样的角色。那这时候 part 或是 role 的前面常用的形容词可能有 important 重要的， major 主要的， key 关键的， crucial 决定性的，非常重要的等等。举例来说 Elaine played a vital role in saving the company from bankruptcy. Elaine 在拯救公司免于破产扮演了至关重要的角色。接着读到课文第3部分的第一句，母的歌带鵐是否真的对在循环中弄乱他们歌单顺序的雄歌带鵐较感兴趣，尚不得而知。好，文中它是用 It remains to be seen whether 来表达是否怎么样尚不得而知。那 remain to be seen 是用来描述某件事还不确定，还说不准，仍然是未知数，目前状况不清楚，仍有待观察等等的语义。好，那我们来介绍几个常用的相关句型咯。第一个，你可以用 It remains to be seen 加上 which 疑问词或是 if 或是 whether 所引导的名词子句，去表达是否尚不能确定，什么什么还有待观察。好，那其中的 it 是虚主词，真正的主词是在 seen 的后方，也就是用 which 疑问词啊，或者是 if 或是 whether 所引导的名词子句。那他们引导着这个子句呢，就是要持续观察注意的事物咯。举例来说 It remains to be seen if the strike will take place as planned. 罢工是否按照计划举行仍是未知数，这件事情啊还有待观察。好，那第二个你可以用 What remains to be seen is 再加上 WH 疑问词或者是 if 或是 whether 所引导的子句，那这是用来表达说什么什么还是未知数。那其中的 What remains to be seen 是名词子句，是用来当主词用，必须视为单数，所以我们后面搭配了单数动词 is。 好，举例来说 What remains to be seen is which candidate they will support。 他们会支持哪一位候选人尚未见真章，仍有待观察的意思。好，那么以上是今天重点整理，我们回顾今天的单字吧。
Publish. Gregory found an academic journal willing to publish his article. Repetition. When you are trying to learn a language, repetition can be helpful. Preference. Modern consumers show a preference for environmentally friendly products. Variety. Without variety in our lives, we tend to grow bored and unhappy. Spice. Your speech is good, but I think you could add a little spice to the opening paragraph.
Discussion Starter starts now!
Here's our discussion starter for today, and the question is, do you prefer to listen to songs in the same order, or do you prefer to mix it up? Why?
I think some songs need to be listened to in a specific order because I think that musician wrote those songs to be listened to in that particular order. So there is a reason that the songs are in that order. So I usually listen to old music in a specific order, but new music tends to be written in without any order. So in that case, I would listen to it without order and I would mix it up.
Yeah, I think nowadays people listen to music not in any particular order. But maybe, Helen, you're kind of older like me, and we grew up listening to albums. So I prefer to listen to music in a particular order, especially if you're listening to an album like Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. It's pretty important that you listen to that album from beginning to end in the same order. Well, everyone, today's article has come to an end, and I sure hope you enjoyed reading along with us. I am Roger.
I'm Helen.
See you next time.